Welcome to another episode of G Mentions TV. This is me, G, and we're going to have a discussion about relationships and different relationship types today. I tried to change up my scenery. It's been a struggle. I was trying to show y'all the sunlight, the sunset, and all that good stuff, but I'm getting to the point where if I don't do it now, I'll be back in the room. So I'm losing sunlight. I was sharing this topic with a coworker today, and I said, okay, it's time to share with y'all. Okay, so if you look at any relationship, right? You have to categorize the relationship. It's very important that you put each relationship that you're involved in a certain category. I know it might sound weird to structure things like that. You know, you might just be a fly by night, just hey, whatever works, and that's just what you're gonna do. However, there are 4 different types of relationships that I identify with, and I'll define for y'all. Okay, the first one I'll talk about is default. Okay, you have the 4 relationships are default, association, exclusive, and deliberate. Okay, and I'll explain those as I go along. So the first one I wanted to talk about was default. Default relationship, that's your family, right? That's your bloodline. You gotta love them, right? You can't do nothing but love your bloodline. So with your bloodline, you have those, you always say in every family that there's somebody that you don't like, or the crazy cousin, or however you want to identify. However, we must keep connections with our family, and I'll tell you why. It's not really for us, but it's for our kids, so our kids can know our family kids, and basically what we're doing is we're passing on that legacy, so they'll know where they came from, their roots, and why they think the way they do, and why they have the health issues they have. It's very important because that's connected to the bloodline, to the family. So you have one relationship that's a default, and that's your family. It's important to sustain that legacy, okay? And we talked about, making sure you know your family and all that good stuff. However, it's also a good practice to keep your distance. I'm not saying avoid, I'm not saying anything like that. However, as we grow and we keep that distance, it's a healthy distance, right? Because it's easy for us to be distracted by other things and other people, and the love that you might have for your family may cause a distraction in the goals and the aspirations of your life. So just keep a healthy distance. I know, I've been moving for the last 21 years, so I haven't really been close to family. I'll make funerals and family reunions, but that's it. So it's easy for me to keep my distance and to stay focused on what I have going on. Another thing about I wanted to mention about family reunions. Family reunions are very important, and I grew up on my mom's side of the family. They're very close, and I didn't really realize that. And actually, somebody identified that to me, like, "Hey, your family's close." I'm like, "Oh, we are." Like, yeah, we go, yeah, we spend Christmas all together. Sleeping on the floor and having to wake up in the middle of the night and find the bathroom and all that. Yeah, I just thought that's what families did. But after being around other family dynamics are different. So I'm thankful for the dynamics of my family. I know that the elder, my grandmother, she was the glue that held everybody together. Now she's gone, so we do struggle to keep those connections and to keep those reunions. So it's very important that we keep the connection. Again, the connection is not really for us, but it's for our lineage. It's for our kids to know where they came from, where their parents were raised, and where their grandparents were raised. It's very important because it speaks to who they are today and who they will be. Okay. Another thing with family, and I know many can relate to this, is the forgiveness. So, we deal with hurt and pain, and plenty of people, betray us and all that good stuff. But however, when it comes from your default, right? Because again, family, you can't say, I don't want you to be my family. That's why, again, I put family in the category of that's your default relationship. But it's very important that we mend those bridges with our family. It's easy to fall out of relationship with default. However, it's very important that we move on as we need to, and we forgive and move on, right? Because love, at the end of the day, you should be able to depend on your family and love and trust your family more than anybody else. Yes, no one's perfect. Yes, we all make decisions. Yes, we all make mistakes. But when it comes to family, I encourage y'all and I challenge y'all that are dealing with family hurt. I know people haven't talked to their parents in years over hurt, let alone a cousin or in-law or niece, nephew, sister, brother. So it's very important that you clear those circumstances up, especially in times like today, because you just never know when your last time your last opportunity to rectify that relationship will be. And also, and I kind of, when I studied this one, I threw in-laws. So as I get to deliberate, it'll make more sense. But if you look at your default family, it bleeds over into your in-laws. So once you become married to your spouse, you kind of take on the role of a family member in your in-laws. So and I consider that an accepted commitment. So as you're committed to your family, your blood family, you're also committed to your in-laws, and be willing to sacrifice and do things for your in-laws as you would do for your family. I was asked by my wife, we had an issue come up, and I offered to do something. And again, it wasn't. Again, I'm mentally prepared to commit to my married, I say married family, my in-laws or extended family. And I was asked, like, you sure you want to do that? You sure would you do that? Like, man, I've already played those things in my head. So yes, I will do that. Not as a burden, not as like a necessity, but as an acceptance. Our family is our family, and once you create those bonds in a matrimony, you kind of accept the commitment of your extended family. So that's default family. So when you look at, we'll talk about associated family, associated relationships. Relationships are easy to begin, and that's why it's very important to keep them in a certain category. And I'll explain why. It'll make sense once we're done here. So if you look at an associated relationship, that's common interest group, right? Church affiliation, church members, You also have your job. You know, of course, you wouldn't even know your coworkers if it wasn't for your job. You wouldn't know your church members if it wasn't for the church. So those are associated relationships. And then also your neighborhood. So you wouldn't know your neighbor if y'all didn't buy a house next to each other. So all of these are associated relationships. My coworkers have a special bond. They they do CrossFit, right? And that's an associated relationship. Again, that associated relationship must be kept as an association. It'll make sense once we move on. And also membership clubs, right? You have a grocery membership, Sam's Club, whatever. You know, if you shopping at Sam's, everybody in there has a common interest. Everybody in there is an associated member. Okay. You also have golf clubs. You know, you join a golf club, or you join a RV club, you join a gym, or whatever. Those are associated relationships. Okay. So associated relationships are very important, right? I look at associated relationships is your vehicle of opportunity, right? It could lead to opportunity. It could lead to you helping someone else out in need, right? Or whether it's church, work, different organizations, neighborhood watch. Those are all opportunities that you can either that can benefit you, or you can benefit someone else. So again, those are the two: default relationships and associated relationships. Now let's move on to exclusive relationships, right? What's the first thing we think about in an exclusive relationship? Well, we think about, marriage, or boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, right? So, but I want to kind of broaden it first before we get there. Not competitive. So exclusive relationships are not competitive relationships. You have, again, we talked about default, we talked about associated, and we talked about deliberate. So we'll get into deliberate in a minute, but a default relationship shouldn't compete with an exclusive relationship. Associated relationships shouldn't compete with an exclusive relationship. And an exclusive relationship could compete with a deliberate, or they may marry up, right? So exclusive relationship, again, it could be a little bit broader than your significant other. It could be between your child, right? It could be a father and a child. It could be a mother and a son, a mother and a daughter. And then the obvious, right? It could be between a spouse, a mom, or a husband and wife, right? Those are exclusive relationships. And of course, the intimate level of that spouse leads to a sexual partner, right? Between that relationship could be, exclusive. That could be the intimate time for that relationship. However, there are other exclusive relationships. It's just not about being intimate, or it's not necessarily about your spouse. Okay, so reserve the time for your kids to have exclusive time with you. Reserve the time for your parents to have exclusive time with them. So it's very important. So this last one is the one that I'm pretty compassionate about, and again, these are G's rules. These I didn't Google nothing or make nothing up or read anything in a book. I'm telling y'all how I live my life and what I have experienced. So when I talk about deliberate relationships, okay, deliberate relationships are very critical, and they must be controlled by you. Okay, they're attraction based, right? It could be physical. Of course, when you talk about a spouse, it could be physical. You're attracted to a physical body first, right? That what brings you in. But however, it must be other attractions there. So it could be intellectual, emotional, spiritual, right? Different things can attract you in a deliberate relationship. However, that's the meat and potatoes I like about deliberate relationships, because it's your choice. You are in control. So you have to decide, and you have to identify, okay, this person that I'm pursuing, or I'm deliberately pursuing, for one, should I be pursuing that person, or should I not be pursuing that person? It's very important that you control the situation. Okay, if you are looking for a spouse, or you are single and looking for a significant other, yes, pursue that relationship. However, If you're not single, again, if you become physically attracted to someone, you should not have a deliberate. You shouldn't pursue that deliberate relationship, right? That should be your gut check right there, because you know that, hey, I can pursue something that I shouldn't be pursuing, and it's very easy to do. So it's very important that you identify that relationship piece. Okay. So deliberate relationships, they lead to exclusive relationships, right? And you have to remember that again when deciding to pursue that. And again, depending on where you're at and all that good stuff, just think about what's going to be expected, right? What responsibilities, what consequences will be expected, okay? And just think about, just to kind of switch it, think about a drug dealer, right? A drug dealer, he's selling dope, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's entered in a deliberate relationship with that type of environment, right? With that type of lifestyle. Well, what could that lead to in a consequence? That could lead to going to jail, getting caught, going to jail, all that good stuff. Same way with a spouse. If you pursue a relationship with a spouse, it could lead to marriage. It could lead to having kids. However, if you pursue a relationship, an extramarital relationship, what can that lead to? It could lead to kids out of the marriage. It could lead to different things. So deliberate actions can have consequences, which are not all consequences, not all bad. So I call the other ones responsibility. It might just be a new responsibility for you. But again, you have to understand the top. We talked about it being deliberate. It's being something that you can control. Okay. Set expectations early. Okay, in your deliberate relationship. Okay, are you going to be expected to financially support? What's expected of you in the relationship? Because each relationship is a give and take. If you're not giving money, what are you giving? Are you expected to give time? Do you have to answer your phone every time he or she calls, or whatever the case may be? So it's very important, deliberate relationship, to remember that it's something that you wanted. So if it's something that you wanted, you have to commit to it, right? You have to sacrifice. You may not be able to get that motorcycle, or you might not be able to get some type of item that you desire to have, because you're in this deliberate relationship that you're actively pursuing. You're pursuing because the attraction was there and it was worth the fight. So it's very important that you commit to your deliberate relationships. Okay. So I hope I kind of shed some light on that. You got the 4 relationship categories that I identify with. It's default, associated, exclusive, and deliberate. And again, it's good to keep your associated relationships in place in that particular category, because that's what it is. It's an associated relationship. If your exclusive relationship is competing with your associated relationships, you must regain control and rebalance those relationships. And I'm losing sunlight. I'm so sorry. But I wanted to bring y'all, give y'all a different atmosphere. I was waiting for the wind to stop. I was waiting. A lot was going on. But if I have to re-record, I just will. But just remember, focus, flex, and drive in anything that you do. All right, peace.